Hi, I'm Dylan Schneider,
And I'm Spencer Negri,
and we're at Spencer's house.
and it is 8:13 p.m.
Question one. I can use an example to explain why we need to consider different physical and mental abilities. We believe this is so because there are many different people in the world with different physical and mental abilities that we need to account for when creating a product.
An example of this is the iPhone that uses something like VoiceOver to assist blind people in that it would read the screen for them. And it seems like without this, it would put them at a massive disadvantage to other users. All right, so now we're going to be talking about question 3, which is when my manager is contemplating using AI to filter job applications, I can explain to my manager that there are political consequences. So with this one, we feel like when you use AI to filter job applications, an AI might consider certain things that a human might not consider. For example, like an AI might incorrectly consider race or gender or something like that shouldn't normally be considered in the job application process, or it might consider something like, or a human might consider something like taking a risk on someone or reading a cover letter and saying, oh, this company can take a risk on a person, versus AI might not do that, which could present a lot of problems for the company.
Yes, and AI's just taking into consideration skill sets is probably not the best idea. Using an unbiased human is probably the best thing to do because they can sense things like merit and determinism in a human, which an AI might not possibly be able to determine. All right, so now we're talking about question 4, which is when asked to improve Uber, I can suggest features aimed to encourage drivers and passengers to be more courteous to each other. For example, if passengers were more courteous to each other, they would get a higher rating from drivers. And if they got a multiple good ratings in a row, we could give them the incentive of a discount on their next couple rides if they get a good rating from the previous drivers.
And we could essentially do the same thing, but the opposite with where the drivers, where if they have a good rating from their passengers, we could give them a bigger cut from Uber to incentivize them to keep being good to their passengers.
Lastly, we're talking about question 6, which is I can explain the difference between mental model and mapping. Well, a mental model is basically what's in the user's head about how to use a product. So it's like what they're thinking when they look at a product and how to use it.
So mapping is essentially what is physically present on the actual product that you're using, which is kind of what dictates how people are supposed to use the product. And that's kind of where the difference lies, is that mapping is what kind of develops the user's mental model of what product they're using and how they're supposed to use it. So one kind of drives the other one, so to speak.